just smoke.
I'm in agreement that Lauren Southern is a thought, but I do have to ask you, why have you been going on Lauren Southern's subreddit then, Scorpio?
To troll the simps. That's what I do.
Oh yeah, people simp her so hard. It's disgusting.
I mean,
like there's one big criticism I have about the right is like we are so weak and susceptible to hot looking women. Like whenever there's a pretty face that comes along that's like, oh, I like low taxes too. It's like, oh my god.
I don't know if that's a left-right thing. I wouldn't commit to that. I think that's a humankind thing.
I mostly agree, but I think the right is like worse at it. I think we, especially the younger ones, the boomers too, maybe. Yeah, like I don't know. I'd have to do a bit more observation. But I feel like the right is worse with it.
I mean,
we just fall for these pretty faces that turn out to be grifters far too often.
Yeah,
like Milo.
No, he ain't no grifter. No,
I beg to differ.
He has done things that literally hurt his career. He is. Look, he could right now literally do so much shit.
How so? He's doing pretty well, isn't he? I was just told that the other day. He's a multi-millionaire.
No, he is not No, he's lost most of his money. And he's not working to get it back.
I just saw him on. What did I see him on? God, what's the last thing I saw him? I saw him on Eric Metaxas show.
Yeah, I was watching.
And I think he mentioned something about that. Who was he on before that? He was on oh god, it's on my tongue. Was it? Yes, it was on the Kill Stream. He said it himself. He's so rich, he doesn't ever have to work again. He can do whatever he wants. Do you remember that?
Yes, but he's not rich. Like he is.
Oh, he's not. Okay. He's
like
just...
he has enough money to survive, but he's not some like.
Well, I don't know. You're starting to sound kind of simpish here.
He literally wrote a book called How to Be Poor. he details how much money he lost.
That's into question. It's questionable whether or not he wrote it.
No, he did. He's literally in Hawaii right now writing his next book.
Supposedly.
Must be nice.
His first book, I think he did have like an assistant ghostwriter of sorts. I don't know the full details on it, but he right now writes his own books for sure. Like he has editors and people that help research probably, but you know,
Sam, I've got a lot of work to do with this one.
Well, because you do realize,
yes, you do.
All of these mainstream authors, like when you ever see like Anderson Cooper write a book or Bill Gates, those people are notorious for not writing a single word. It's very rare when people actually like write even a part of their books. And Milo does like most of his own stuff, to my knowledge. Like, yeah, there's some assistants here and there.
This is something that I've noticed the right do a lot. It's that whataboutism. We're not talking about Anderson Cooper at all. We're talking about Milo.
I know, and I said at the end there that he is unlike most people, where he does write his stuff. Like a lot of people don't.
We don't know that hasn't been verified. What has been verified is the existence of ghostwriters in the past. So we have that to go on.
Yeah, and you have there's no proof that he's done one with newer stuff. Like he did have a ghostwriter, I know, for his first book, but like I've started to read his first book, and it's very clearly him. Like I don't know where the ghostwriter even came into it, because like it is the voice of Milo. Like they're very.
That's what a writer does. That's what a good writer does.
Yeah, but you can usually but the reason I brought up like the Anderson Coopers and the Bill Gates of the world is because their books are very generic sounding. That's why they hire ghostwriters, because you can't tell the difference.
Okay, listen to what you just said. You acknowledged that there was a ghostwriter on Milo's book, but then you said that what you've read of Milo's book was written by Milo. So
Because I haven't read the whole thing, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's hard. It's hard for me. His humor style is so unique that when you read certain parts of it, you can tell that's him making when he's making those fat jokes. I'm like, yeah, there's no way in hell a Ghost Rider thought of one that clever. Like it, there are so many times where look, I don't know what the Ghost Riders would have did.
I think you have a very low opinion of Ghost Riders for whatever reason. It might have
Well, you do
that
too.
generic
Because you're bringing
connotation.
up the negative context.
No, I'm telling you, I told you that that was the Ghost Rider's job, was to write like Milo. Any adequate writer would be able to do that. It's not a very hard thing to do.
It is.
I could
Why do you
write
think they're paid so much? If it's so easy, anybody could
The
do it.
Ghost Riders are not paid very much at all. I've
They get
taken these
royalties
jobs
for
on.
the books.
I've taken, yeah, they do. But well, no, it depends. It depends on if that's part of the if that's part of the contract or not.
Right.
A lot of times when you take ghostwriting jobs, you'll just take a set rate.
Well, let me ask you this then. Who are people that you like then? Who are people that you think are better than these people?
Honestly, I don't like anybody. I don't like anybody.
Okay, that's a cop out. You gotta like somebody.
I don't like anybody on
Me.
YouTube.
Me. That's
You know who I
that's the exception is me. I'm gonna be egotistical and say me.
I do like Sam, and we're gonna get into some weird territory here. Not that way, but I mean, I know Sam for one thing. I know Sam. I like him as a person, not so much as a political commentator, but I like Sam as a person.
Are there any mainstream political commentators you like?
Oh God,
not anymore.
I don't think so. Let me see. I mean, I've been out of politics for a while. I keep an eye on things tangentially, but I was a news junkie for a very long time. I've been through it all. I've seen them all, and I lost my taste for much of it. Let me. This is a very intriguing question to me. Who do I like? Let me see. Oh man. Let's circle back to that. But
well, see, because that to me is like if you gotta like I'm the type of person where I think like because I used to have a period where I was a bit of a centrist and I still am in many ways, but at the end of the day you gotta stand for something, because if you're not standing for anything you stand for nothing, and if you do that it's like what's the point? Like there's gotta be somebody you like, something you stand for, something you're fighting for, or it's just
you know what I like is myself. I like what I do. I like the commentary that I provide in my own way, and the people that I trust and are in my little circle. We have some biting sarcasm that I very much enjoy. But yeah, as far as like I really I don't know. I wouldn't refer to myself as a centrist at all. Like I said, I'm already
sound
beyond.
very centrist.
I'm beyond the politics.
Radical centrist. Oh no, it's one of these. Sam, where'd you find this guy? It's just like in the meme. You know that meme where it's
he
like,
found me.
Well, you know the
you know
meme
what?
it's like the guy with
when
the
you
brain.
when you talk about standing for something, what do you stand for? Tell me what you stand for, and then I'll tell you what I stand for.
America first, strong borders, secure borders, I should say. America first trade policies, no foreign wars, and no foreign intervention. For the most part, of course. Low taxes for the middle class and lower class. And I mean, that's generally what I stand for. I mean, I could get into more nuances, but generally America first, limited immigration, and no foreign wars. That's like my three big pillars.
You listed to me a bunch of things that you can't do a damn thing about in any way.
Yeah, you
You're
can.
not going to be able. You're not going to be
You
able
can
to
vote.
affect any of that stuff in any
You
way.
can vote. This
Well,
is where the centrist
how well has that worked out?
pretty
Tell you
fucking
what
well,
let me tell you what
actually.
I stand for. Let me tell you what I stand for. I stand for damn day-to-day life. I have a family. I have a job, a life to live, and that's what I do, man. I don't this political stuff. I've learned, and I've been examining this stuff for a long, long time, probably. And I'm not trying to pull that card, but probably longer than you've been alive, man. And you know what I learned? None of that stuff affects me in any way.
Yes,
There's
it
nothing I
does.
can do about. No,
Absolutely.
no, there's not. No, it doesn't.
Immigration affects you, drives your wages down, and it can take your jobs. These things do affect you.
I've heard that song and dance before. It does.
It's
It
true.
doesn't.
It is
It
factually
doesn't play
true.
out that way in the real world, my friend.
Yes, it does. My friend works at a cybersecurity firm, PNC, and there have been jobs full of H-1Bs. Yes, it does affect you 100%. If it didn't, you wouldn't
How
see.
how has it affected you personally? Can you tell me that?
Yeah, because it makes me hard to find a job, especially this diversity shit.
Are
It's
you
like,
are you working right now?
yeah, COVID affected me big times. I couldn't find a job because of the stupid lockdowns from these governors. So yeah, this shit does affect you.
Okay, so you gave me an example of it's hard to find work as something that affects you, something that is impacted by the things impacted the things you stand for, impacted by these issues. And employment was one of them. But you have a job.
Yeah, because I applied to 100 every day, and I was lucky to get
Well,
one.
I mean, that's what I don't understand. What is your issue then?
Well, because I could have had jobs
I
sooner.
don't
I
have
was
look.
unemployed for
There's
months.
and you're in Pennsylvania, right? Is that, I mean, I'm not trying to
Yeah,
dox you or
because we
anything. I
have
think that's
Governor
what somebody
Wolf
said.
here shutting down every business, and they're laying off people, cutting
I
staff,
I'm in
and
Texas. I'm in South Texas, man. You think who do you think deals with immigration worse? You or me?
yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm iffy on moving to Texas, honestly.
No. That's not what I asked you. Who deals with immigration more? You or me?
Probably you.
Okay,
But they
let's
send
take it as that.
migrants to, other states like Virginia.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
Yeah, it is
its impact on
immigration.
jobs. You have a job. I have a job. I deal with immigration more than you do, and I still have a job. I've always had a job.
You could have a
If
better
I
one
ever
though,
get out of
without
work, I
immigration.
find another. What's that?
I said you could have better
I
wages
think what
with
I'm
less
hearing. No,
immigration.
the wages don't the way you know that the wages are oftentimes of your own choosing.
No, that's a lie. No, no,
I have very low
no.
wages, but you
You
know
don't
what? I
choose your
chose to take.
wage.
I chose. You don't choose your wage.
No, you don't. You do not. It's whatever the economic situation set for you. Right now, thanks to COVID,
So when you got the
there
job
were
that you have now, did you request a certain salary?
well, yeah, but they were only going to give me one number anyway. They don't just go like, "Oh, I want $100,000 a year." Okay, Sean, we'll give that to you. No, you don't choose your wages. I'd love to, but you don't.
You're supposed to. If they're not going to give it, then you go to the next guy who does. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of
Good
how.
luck with that.
That's kind
That's
of how.
not how reality works.
What I'm hearing,
You
what
can't
I'm
go
hearing from
around.
you, okay. What I'm hearing
Look,
from you
if I wanted to get a job paid how much I wanted, I wouldn't be getting a job.
again, again, we're going with whataboutism. It's
This is
you're jumping around. You're jumping around all over the place. I don't know
here.
what
Can
you're.
you
Yeah,
find
what
me
I
a
hear is I hear a bunch of cognitive dissonance.
No, what you're saying makes no sense. You can't choose your wage. You
Yes, you
can't.
do. You choose your wage. You request your wage, and if they're not
But
going to
they're
give it
not
to
gonna
you, then
pay
you don't
you.
take the job.
Okay, well, you're not gonna find a job that pays like this,
How do you know
utopian
if you're
view
not looking
wage.
for it?
I have been for months. I was lucky to get what I got, and it wasn't the wage I wanted. But I had to settle for because it was the only thing
No,
available.
you chose to settle for it.
Well, it's kind of the illusion of choice, isn't it? It's like, yeah, you did choose, but you could
No, it
choose to
wasn't.
not have a
Is it, was
job.
it a choice or not? It's not. There's no illusion. You made a choice.
Yes,
I mean,
but it's a very
yeah,
limited choice. It's
but
like when you sign up for Facebook and it's like, oh, you choose to sell your privacy. It's like, you really don't because you're forced to hit I agree. It's like with this, I'm in a situation where there are very few jobs and I was only able to pick one.
Yeah, you chose one. Hang on. Let me be right back.
I'll be right back 1 second.
well, folks, this turned out to be an interesting stream a little late in the game, huh? I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this debate a lot, personally. I think it's great. And yes, now we are having a intervention.
Yeah, the old gammon chief had to pull your ass out of the fire again.
Yeah.
Do we still have viewers here? Let's see what's going on.
We have seven viewers at this point.
Okay, that's one more than earlier.
I'm surprised.
Okay, let's look in the chat because we got shouting at clouds, and I don't want to pick on anybody. I don't want to pick on anybody. Oh, but yeah, I know how things are. South Texas is not run by cartels. I live here. It's freaking. That's the thing, and that's the thing you're guilty of, Sam. You're the one that keeps pushing. Well, and probably a bit of it has to do with influence. But there's so much. That's what I fight against. There's too much rage porn going around.
Rage.
Hang on, I lost you. Hang on. Okay, I can hear you now.
You said I'm guilty of perpetuating what?
There's too much rage porn going around. Everybody's pissed off about something. Nobody's concentrating on living their lives. There's not.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I've been saying that for a while too. But then you also have people who, on the flip side, grift off the live your lives stuff too, such as Joel Osteen, and
On the what? What did you call Joe Osteen on the?
on. I mean, I get what you mean. Like people aren't focusing on living in their lives.
Yeah, there's that. Hold on, Sam. This guy keeps going at it. I don't care if you live in Texas. You're not speaking truth. Shouting at clouds. You're not speaking reality. There's nothing wrong here. There's no cartels. There's no anything. There's Mexicans here, sure. There always have been. It's not a big deal. I'm living my life just fine. I'm not scared of any. I got in an argument with this guy on Twitter the other day. Everybody's talking about the riots and the cities burning, all the same old BS that you've heard a bunch of times. That stuff is not happening in 90% of America. That stuff, most Americans are not affected by that stuff. I sure as hell am not. I go to work every day. I take care of my family every day. There's nothing to be afraid of. You can think that's putting your head in the sand, but I'm telling you, that's just living your damn life.
But okay,
too many people want to worry about too much shit.
I'm willing to concede that it doesn't affect nearly as much of the population as people think. But again, so this is kind of my earlier point that got derailed, right? That's what I was saying. Cops. What I was saying earlier at the very beginning of the show is cops aren't going around shooting like 90% of the black population. If they were, I would think I would have seen it by now.
No, yeah, Sam. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Then I want to answer Larry's question. Um, yeah, it's going both ways. It's going both ways completely. I agree with that. And I'm not gonna say like y'all did earlier. Most cops are doing a good job. This and that. I don't know. I've never had good interactions with police. Um, but yeah, they're not going around killing people willy nilly. But at the same token, there's not people going around burning cities, around every corner. It's just too much extremes are being presented every day.
Yeah, which I
And
oddly enough, I don't think you and I are that far separated on our views on this.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
So
let me answer Larry real quick because he wanted to know, Scorp, tell us what is going on in South Texas. He goes on to say, Oswego is booming right now, and things have been booming here where I'm at. We have not been as, and I think we've talked about this before, but we have not been as affected by this whole pandemic thing as a lot of the country has, or as we've been told it has. But my experience is things are fine. Things are normal. Things are great. Life is good.
Are you in Austin?
No, I'm 3 hours south of that. I'm in Corpus Christi. I'm in
Nice.
I'm right on the Gulf Coast.
I have not been there in a long time, but I have been. So no, and I mean Florida is pretty good too. But again, people get upset over that all the time too because
Well, and Sam, we've talked about this before. That's just the American way. That's just they call it first world problems. There's people will always find something to complain about in America, but they don't realize how great that they have it.
yeah, which oddly enough is one of the things I bitch about, Pure Lot too. That very thing. So
So where are we going? Is Sean back?
yeah, I think Sean's back. I can't even remember what you. Oh, Milo. You two were getting on over Milo, I think.
It was about what's it called? Choosing your wage.
Oh yeah, wage. Yeah.
Like, I'll put it this way: in a technical sense, technically, yes, you choose, but very limited choice. Where it's like you don't really have a choice.
I'm here. I'm gonna take a break. But you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like SJW speak. It sounds like you're mincing words. It sounds like you're changing definitions. Do you choose or do you not choose? That's where it's like the Bible thumpers like to say, let your yes be yes and your no be no. I think that's where we're getting. I think that's where we're diverging on our understanding. It's like you wanna give yourself a little bit of escape room.
No, I think there's a difference between choice in the technical sense and choice in the practical sense.
No, but I'm not talking about technical. I'm saying like I got all right. I already have two examples of you kind of squirming around. Does Milo have a ghostwriter or doesn't he? Do you have a choice or don't you?
One.
That's already two. That's already yeah. Well, we were talking about the one book earlier.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not there. You go, and you're doing it right now. I mean, just.
No, I answered directly. I'd say he had one.
Did Milo have a ghostwriter on his first book? Yes or no?
Yeah, I've said that. Yeah.
Did you choose your job? Yes or no?
Yes, but you're making it seem
That's
like choice is so simple. Like, oh, if you don't like this
no
job, you don't like this wage, you
choice
can
is
go out and get a
simple.
better wage. It's
Choice
not that
is no, no,
simple.
no, no. I said, did you choose your job? Yes or no? Was that a simple choice or not? Did you simply choose yes, or did you simply choose no?
Well, obviously you chose it, but that's not the point. The point is, you know, you have choice, but you don't have much to choose from. You know, it's missing that important context.
But it
The
is.
context of what? Unemployment? I mean, what?
Yeah, that was literally my choice. Yeah.
Yeah, and you chose a job. You're getting
Yeah,
paid.
but it's not what I
You're
yeah.
working now. Life is good, but you want
No, not
more.
really.
That's the American way. That's what we were just talking about. The
No.
first world problems. You want more. You have a good
No.
life, but you
Yeah.
want more.
No, not really. No, not really.
And what are you complaining about? You have a job. You chose a job. That's what we're talking.
It's
That
not
was.
a it's not a wage that I could go off and live on my own on. No way.
Not yet. Not yet. But
Yeah, well,
I'm not gonna. It's not. It's not proper
like,
to ask.
do you say
It's not
those
proper to
people at
ask those kind of
Walmart the
questions.
same thing? Do you say that to those people like, "Oh, you're living a great
No,
life.
they're
Oh,
not.
you had a
They're not
choice."
my. They're not my issue, and I don't. I'm
Oh, so
glad they have a
that's not
job,
relevant.
and
Okay.
I'm sure they're glad they have a job, and
No, they hate
I'm
their
not gonna
jobs.
be. How would
They
you
hate
know?
their jobs
How do you
because
know? Let me tell you this, my
I
friend.
know people
Let
that
me tell
work
you this.
there, and not only do they look as miserable as they look, but they hate it.
That sounds
They
very. That sounds very elitist, to be honest. And
no,
let me tell you this. Let
I'm
me
just
tell you this, my young friend. Let me tell you this. Whatever you're making, I guarantee you, it's probably a lot more than what I'm making. And you know what? I'm
how
not
much are you
complaining about it.
making?
No, I'm not going to ask you what you're making. And I'm not going to say what
Well,
I'm
so then
making
how could you make that claim? And there's different
because
costs of living.
I'm pretty damn sure. We can talk about it in
How are
private
you
later
sure? I mean, that's
because
just silly. Like you can just assume that. Like so you're assuming that just out
I
of
mean,
nothing.
okay, you want me to be frank? You
If you
sound,
want.
you sound, you're coming off as being very spoiled right now. And I guarantee you, if you made as little as I make, you probably wouldn't be so spoiled. In other
No,
words, you would know
well, you
you
have a
would know
choice.
the
You have a choice. You can make more. And
yeah.
you
And
and your
I
philosophy, you
tried to
can
tell
go
you
out and you can go get a Porsche right now.
yeah,
Just
but I'm not the
choose a better
one.
job and get
I'm
the
not the
Porsche.
one complaining. You are. I told you.
I mean,
I
if you're
tried to.
happy with it,
I
fine, but
started
I'm not
tell
happy
you
with
this
my
earlier. Yes,
situation. Hey, if you're happy,
yes, I
fine.
am happy. I am happy with
But a
my
lot of people
situation,
aren't
and
happy in
all
their situation.
Americans should be happy with their situations.
No, that's no. If you're
I
poor, you
I
shouldn't be happy to be poor. That's stupid. Like
You
I'm gonna be
should be
honest,
happy
that's
to be
stupid.
poor in America.
Well,
Yes,
you're
my
better.
friend.
Well, yeah, yes, I do agree because you're better off than poor people in a lot of countries. But you still shouldn't be happy with that. You shouldn't settle for mediocrity. That's
but that's not what Scorpio was saying either. To be fair, I don't think he
I
said.
think so.
I don't think
Am I
Scorpio was.
wrong?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that.
I don't think Scorpio was saying
Again,
to
you're
be a.
coming off as very haughty and very spoiled. To equate, so okay, this is what you're saying. You're equating the poor in America to the mediocre, and that sounds very elitist, like I said
No, I'm
earlier.
not saying it's mediocre. I'm saying you're not living a
If
better life.
someone,
You could be living a better life, and any poor person would say that. They
what
wish they could
is
be
a
living a
better
better life.
life? More money is a better life to you?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's part
okay.
of it. It's not all of it, of
And
course. But
we know what your values are.
well, no, that's not my only value. See, like you're totally misconstruing what I believe. If you
I think it's
would you
pretty clear
honestly
what
be
you
happy?
believe.
Would you be happy if you had nothing? Would you be happy? You had no health care, no roof over your head, no food, no water, nothing. Would you be happy?
I mean, if
Let
you.
me let me ask you this: do you think it's
Would you be
impossible
happy in
to
that
be happy in that
situation?
scenario?
Yeah, you could be. I wouldn't be. Most people wouldn't be. Like, let's be real. You're gonna suffer. You're gonna get diseases. You're gonna be homeless. That sucks.
Uh.
I I mean, the only people that can say, "Oh, I'd be happy in that situation," are actually spoiled people because they aren't living like that. I have friends that have been poor. Phil can tell you how much it sucks. It's awful.
But happiness is also a mindset too. I
Oh, I
think.
totally agree. But you can't just, negate money from it because money can't buy you happiness. It can't buy you meaning, but it can buy you nice shit that can help make you happy and help live a better life. I mean, I would not want to be dirt poor. No way. I mean, that's silly to think that you could be happy, that most people would be happy with that. There are some people I bet that could be, but most people wouldn't be. And
You know that a great deal of America is poor, right? It's not. It's
what do
not
you
even.
mean? Whoa,
It's
whoa,
not,
whoa, 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 whoa. A great deal of America is poor. What does that mean?
let's look up. Let's look up the stats. Let's see. We got the internet here. Let's look it up.
How are you defining it?
Because what you're telling. Let's say below the poverty line. Okay.
And what do you mean by great deal? Like a majority of Americans?
So we're gonna find out right now.
Oh, we're gonna find out. We're not gonna define.
Yeah, we're gonna look it up right now. Do you know offhand what percentage of Americans? Do you know offhand what is the percentage of Americans that live below the poverty line?
No.
No.
That's why we're looking it up. That's why we're looking it up,
Okay,
my
but you
young
said a
friend.
great deal are, so you do know. You're making assumptions. You
I was
assume my
guessing.
values. You assumed that I'm
Your
making more
values
than
are
you.
clear.
You
Your values are
assume
clear.
this.
You said it. You said that you would not be happy without money and you would not be happy without possessions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so we know what your values
that's not
are.
my
Your
values. That's not
values
all
are
my values. I value relationships. I value helping people. I value making contributions to society. I value art. Like, it's not just that.
Let me see here.
okay. So we have 10.5% of Americans living under
Yeah, that's not most Americans.
poverty.
Yeah, we're doing pretty damn good here.
It's not. But how many Americans are there? Can you do that in your head real quick?
No. Not good at math.
That's probably about what 35 million Americans.
Yeah, and that's a shame.
But you're saying out of those 35 million people, they're all unhappy because
I never said all. That's an absurd absolute there. I never said that. I said most
well,
people aren't happy. I bet if you gave most of those people $1,000, they would love you for doing that. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, and they did do that recently.
Oh, with the stimmies?
Yeah.
Yeah, people love it. People love money.
Yeah, you love money. You said so yourself.
Like, I don't get your point.
I'm trying to understand your point.
I think
you're saying that. I mean, what was it you were saying initially about like you were saying some people could be happy poor, and I'm like, well, most people would not want to be poor because it's
no, but you don't know that because you've never lived it.
I didn't know that.
What's that?
You ask any person, would you like to be poor?
I'm asking.
Be like, yeah, sure. I wanna lose all my house, my healthcare, and everything. That's why people work. They don't want to be poor.
I don't think that's what Scorpio was saying though. I to be fair, gentlemen, I think you two are getting, at least from what I've surmised, I think what Scorpio is saying is, I don't think money should determine your happiness, which I agree. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm just saying, like, when you're poor,
but you don't agree with that, Phil. You don't because
Sean,
you're not living it.
Well, yeah, because I know it sucks.
No, you don't know that.
Yeah, I do.
Because you've never lived it.
I know people that have, and I know how awful it is.
What the hell does that matter? I've known people who've gotten their dick chopped off. What? That doesn't make me an expert on that.
Okay, yes, that is true. But we're not getting dicks chopped off. I know if I didn't have anything, I'd be laying in the streets. And right now it's actually rather cold outside. And so I don't like the Colts. I'd be suffering because of that.
Why do
I don't
you
think I'd be happy
Why do you live in Pennsylvania then? If you don't,
because I'm too poor to leave. Like, unironically, like, I can't leave here because I don't have the money to.
exactly, that's my point. But you are working towards that though.
Yeah.
So
Like, look, Phil would be great to have on for this because Phil has been poor. He hates it. So he got out of it because he was born with the right genes, had good IQ, got into the military, and made some of himself. And, now he's living a good life and he's got a job. I mean, it's not the best job, it's not what he really wants, and he's working towards something better, but he's been poor and he tells me how terrible it is. Like, when you're poor, it's not just like you don't have money, like, people get pulled into crime, there's drugs. I mean, it's just a shitty environment. Like, that's one of the things that, you know, I think a lot of people don't realize is that your environment can shape you a lot. And like being in a poor environment is going to negatively affect you. It's depressing. There's a lot of other poor people. There's
But
drugs, crime. Like, it sucks.
you're speaking completely from out of experience because you don't know. You don't know that.
I know
You're
people that have
you're
been through
you're
it.
making generalizations again. You're saying that's exactly
Have
what
you
you're
been
saying, and you're
poor?
going to deny it.
Have you been poor?
Yes,
yeah,
yes, that's what I'm telling
Wait,
you.
wait, wait.
yeah,
So, and you're not poor now, right?
No, I am poor. That's what I'm telling you. I know better than
Oh,
you.
well, okay. You are poor. Do you like being poor?
Yes, I love my life. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, cool. But most people would disagree with that.
You don't know that.
Well,
Ask anybody.
well,
I would think that
If
most
you
well.
people
ask
love.
Hold on there,
if
Sean.
people want to be poor, they'd give up all their shit.
Uh, Sean,
What was that?
Sean, I think you're looking at poverty, and maybe you both are, but I think, Sean, you're looking at poverty as merely like monetarily speaking, right? And
Well,
being
that's what it.
poor.
Well, poverty is when you don't have money, you don't have a lot of money, don't have a lot of possessions. Like, well, okay, let me ask you this though, so I understand better. What do you have health care?
No. Why the hell
Do
would
you have
I?
a home? Do you have a home?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, you're not poor then.
You see, you don't that, and
You have
I'm
a
telling you
possession.
that
You
is what
own a
America
home.
is. I'm telling. That's what I'm trying to tell you. No, I don't own my home.
Well, do
I
you
live
rent
in
it?
a home. Yes,
Okay, and you have a phone, I assume, because that's how you're talking to us right now, right?
I'm talking to you on my laptop.
Okay,
And
laptop,
that's what
yeah.
I was telling you earlier, is that
So you do
being
have
poor in
possessions. Like, you're
America,
not really, like, you're not in poverty, is what I'm saying,
you're
right?
you are very young and very inexperienced. That's what I was telling you earlier. Being poor in America is fucking great.
Yeah, yeah.
Being in America is great, no matter who you are. And there's a lot of people that have made a lot of bad choices and are living very poorly, very much more worse off than I am. But I've been there too. I've I've made a lot of bad choices in my life.
To be fair, Sean, you did go to Penn State, so
Yeah,
you
yeah, I'm
know.
lucky. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
that's what Phil did. Phil got out of poverty, got out of being poor to go to Penn State because it sucked.
but but you realize that like even I'm middle. I'm pretty salt. Well, actually, I'm
You're not
depending.
poor. You're well off.
No,
I'm well off.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not poor. I would say I'm like upper middle class, depending on which side of the family. But what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, even Penn State to like upper middle class is kind of considered kind of like high echelon upper class.
I don't live in a rich neighborhood. I'm not really upper middle class.
Maybe not.
I'd say I'm middle class.
Maybe not Ivy League, but Penn State is pretty close to it, I would say.
No, it is. But yeah, understand, like, people go into there and get into debt. Like, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor or whatever. Like, you can still get into Penn State. Phil, for example, is paying off student loans. Tulski is too. Like a bunch of people I know are. It's like, yeah, it is a prestigious school, but it puts you in debt. It's and people like it. Like I said, Phil, he started off poor. It sucked. He got out of it, went to Penn State.
It,
I'm not denying that there are people that don't like that like being poor. Sure, there are people like that. I mean, I know a bunch like my girlfriend's the type where she likes limited possessions. I get it because like it can be a bit much and it can make you materialistic. I get it. But what I'm saying is, you ask any ordinary American and you were like, okay, do you want to be poor? They're gonna say no. Or if you ask people that used to be poor, they don't like being poor. Like some people do, and that's fine. I'm all a believer of like, if you're happy where you're at, great. That's what you need to achieve in life to me is happiness. But most people don't want to be poor. Like, I don't see how it's a controversial opinion. And most people wouldn't like it because people like their stuff. You take it from that, and like you take like people don't like losing even the simplest things. If they lost everything, I don't know what they'd be able to do with themselves.
some would start over, and that's happened before.
Yeah, because they don't want to be poor. They try getting stuff again, getting money. Because like, look, healthcare is one of the biggest things too. Like that would suck about being poor is like, you get into an accident, you hurt yourself, you get like $1 million, ambulance bill plus $1 million hospital bill, and you're screwed. Like, that's where I look at like being poor, and I'm like, I would hate it because then you'd be stuck with that debt. Unless you get freebies from the government, which I could never do because that's immoral in my opinion. But, I don't think it's a controversial opinion though.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think you would. Are you a Christian?
No.
You don't have any religion at all?
No, but I'm open to it.
Sean, are you, to be clear on that, I wanted to ask you this before. Are you an atheist or are you an agnostic more?
I started off in life with no beliefs, became atheist, and now I'm more agnostic. I do believe in Christian morality, though. I think it is the best set of morality, and it's good for people, and it's brought a lot of good to people. But I am not that. I just can't. I can't get myself to practice religion. Like go to church every Sunday, pray, do all that stuff. I just don't. I can't come to believing in a God, but I am open to it.
And
Oh, you're a mess.
don't go all Kurgan on me, Scorps. I mean,
no, I was going Jesse Lee Peterson. You didn't catch
I
that?
love Jesse. It's amazing.
Oh no!
He's based.
Oh man.
Oh look, I have issues in my life, no question about it, but I don't think I'm the type of person that needs religion in my life, though. Maybe I will. I don't know. That's why I'm open to it. But I still believe in Christian morality. Like my morality system is pretty much Christian morality.
Yeah, but I will say this: having believing in a higher power, believing in Christ has definitely helped keep me centered.
Let me clear up something for this this dumbass in the chat, because I didn't want to embarrass him earlier.
Oh, I
wasn't gonna screw with him earlier because he's a fucking schizo. I know him as a schizo, and he keeps trying to pull this that I pulled the white privilege crap. I didn't say anything about anybody's ethnicity, and we're talking about just so we're clear, because I gave him a break earlier.
I identify as black.
I gave him a break earlier because I didn't want to embarrass him. But I'm talking about shouting at clouds. He keeps saying that Scorpio's pulling the white privilege. I didn't talk about anybody's ethnicity. I didn't even think about anybody's ethnicity. Just so we're clear. But shouting at clouds is a fucking dumbass. I'm gonna say that right now. And we're moving on.
See the thing about Scorpio, Sean, that you have to realize is Scorpio is actually based, but he's based in a way that's outside of the political peridium that you don't quite understand yet, and I'm beginning to because
Well, I will say this. Look, as much as I disagreed on those points, I will say this. I envy religious people and I envy people that can live possessionless. I think there is a beauty to both of those things.
I
Don't get
mean,
me wrong. I don't want to come off as if I'm like hating on that lifestyle because I'm fine with it. Like I said, I'm fine with it. I personally think I'd hate it. Maybe not. I know most people don't want to be poor and don't want to have nothing. Not to say they couldn't be happy that way, but I bet most of them wouldn't be. But you know, there is something to be said for those lifestyles. But most people, they like their shit. That's why they keep it. But you know, not trying to digress on that because I think the religious angle is actually more interesting. Because I think, well, you asked if I was a Christian. Why'd you ask that? I'm curious.
I'm curious about that as well, actually.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say that I don't. I'm gonna accept and understand your point of view, especially your very young point of view. But I do not envy anybody who cannot live a lifestyle free from possessions. But the reason I asked why you were a Christian was because, of course, Christianity is based, for one thing, and I can't believe that you don't, you're not a part of that. But I was just talking with somebody today. We're actually talking about Dan Pena, making fun of Dan Pena. And Dan Pena had a video out where he was saying that he's got 240 nuns and priests praying for him, and therefore he was on a rocket ship to heaven. And it reminded me of, let me pull it up. I think it was Matthew 17:24. Let me just, well, it doesn't matter. It was of course that famous quote from Jesus that, I tell you, it is more probable that a camel pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man go to heaven. So if you're not Christian, if you don't have faith at all, that won't mean anything to you. I'm assuming it doesn't. Sean.
Can you say it again? Actually, I didn't catch the full thing.
Let me go ahead and pull up the real thing so I don't mess it up for you. Hang on. It is Matthew 19:24. And Jesus said, "Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God." Does that hold any meaning for you at all?
I'd have to think about it, but kind of sounds like, yeah,
It kind of sounds like God's command was for you to be poor.
What?
Yes, that's the meaning of that Bible
Well, obviously,
passage.
there are a lot of Christians that are not practicing that.
Well, yeah, narrow is the road that leads to to heaven. Exactly. Now you're getting it. Now you're getting based.
See, now I don't want to be a Christian if that's what I gotta believe in.
Well,
I don't think most Christians are falling in line with that interpretation.
No, they're not.
I don't think, and I think there's a reason because it doesn't make sense.
No, it does make sense. You're not supposed to be happy on earth. I mean, you're not supposed to be comfortable on earth, is a better way to phrase it.
Huh? So
You're
what's the
not
point of
supposed
life
to be
then?
to suffer. It's
I know
You're
life is
supposed-
suffering, but that's not how I want my life to be. That sucks because I only got one life here. I want to actually
well,
have a good time.
I hate to break it to you. That's pretty much it.
we
To me, that's Go ahead, Sam. What are you saying?
We all suffer at certain points, Sean.
Oh yeah.
In various. Shoot, not to brag, but I suffered right out of the gate. I was born with. I wasn't born with cerebral palsy, but like 2 weeks after my birth, I suffered a massive brain bleed that should have killed me, and but it didn't. And look, there are days where I'm just happy to be alive. So,
Yeah, no, I get it. Life is suffering. No, I said that once, I'll say it again because that's very true for everyone, but you can still find happiness in life.
oh sure, absolutely. We're not.
Excuse.
I think that's what Scorpio is saying. That's what Scorpio and I are saying. Actually, you can find happiness in life without being super
Well,
rich.
yeah. When
And
you
No, and
when
I
you
said that.
embrace
I
when
said
you
that, but I'm
embrace
saying,
when you embrace the suffering, that's when you find happiness. And that sounds very that sounds like what would it be? I guess it's a parallax, but yeah, it doesn't. It's one of those mysteries. It's one of the mysteries of our faith.
you mean like accepting that suffering is just a reality?
yeah,
Mm,
I mean,
yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it.
Well, I mean, I kind of agree to an extent because, like, I mean, that can get down a nihilistic pathway because there's a lot of people that then would think,
Well, no,
you
it's not.
know,
It's not supposed to be nihilistic. That's kind of going the opposite direction. It's
yeah, well,
supposed to be. It's supposed to be. No, you know what the word is? Contentment. That's the word
yeah,
you're looking for.
no, I agree, but how do I word this? You accept that there is suffering in life, and I don't want to sound too idealistic, but you have to kind of say to yourself, well, it doesn't have to be that way, or I don't have to live a miserable life because there's so much suffering. Like I've gone through stages recently where I realized how much suffering there is. But my counter to it is like, well, I only have one life, so I might as well try to pursue happiness. And that's this country's kind of built on is that whole pursuit of happiness. And that's
exactly.
why I said if being poor makes you happy, great. But most people don't want to be. And that's just yeah, that's how most people
Yeah,
find happiness.
but that's yeah. I mean, it depends on what. Again, that's who this is what we started on. What are your values?
I think I
Right. If your values are not Christian
Or I want to
based, then
survive.
you're gonna.
You
Yeah,
know, one
but
of my values is
you're not
survival.
talking about survival. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
money
mean,
is
there's not. We're
survival.
talking about no. We're talking about this again. We're coming back to first world problems. We're living in America. Nobody dies of hunger. It's not survival is not an issue here. We're
poor.
talking about we're talking about something else
Yes,
entirely.
to some degree, I agree, but there's still you're gonna like this. There's some choice involved with that because, like, if you're poor, you can choose to get freebies from the government or get freebies from like some shelter or something. And I'm the type of person where I want to work for what I have and not have to ask for a handout. So it's like, yeah, you're
Yeah, but
right, but
you're making
that's one of my
and
values.
I'm the same way. It's you're kind of I you have a false understanding about things. You're kind of
We're
it
false
sounds to
understanding.
me like it sounds to me like you're painting things too black and white. Like if you're not well off, then you're begging for a handout. That might not be what you're saying, but that's what it sounds to me like you're saying.
Well, what other choice do you have? I mean, you're either begging for a handout or you're just like, like
Yeah, but
eating, I like
that's what I'm
hunting and gathering.
that's what I'm telling you. It's not like that in America, and you don't know because you haven't lived it. You're
Wait. So
you
what do
know
you mean? What do you mean it's not like
what
that? How's it not like that?
it's there's not just the two choices. Okay, you heard what I said, right? I said you're presenting it as either you're well off or you're begging for a handout. Do you think that's all there is in life? No, excuse me. That's the only way it is in America.
I mean, technically no, but like, what other choices are there? Like, I don't get what you're getting at.
There's people. There's people who don't make a lot of money who don't take handouts. Is what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
know.
how you can't. I don't know how you can't understand that.
No, I
I
understand that,
I
but
know how you
like
can't
those
understand it because you
people.
haven't lived it. You're too young and
No, no, that's
you
not.
haven't had
No,
the experience
no,
of hardship.
no. No. I like you know that one book about like that guy that literally gave up his job, his life, and everything, just like lived out in the wild.
I'm not talking about a book. I'm talking about the
No, no,
life
no.
that I've lived.
No, because
I'm
that's
telling
based
you
on a
from
true
firsthand
story.
experience.
No, 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 no,
he,
no.
he's
No, listen.
he's not talking about Chris McCandless, who, by the way, was a
No,
rich kid
well, I'm using
who.
that as no, I'm using that as an example because like I do
Hey,
know there are other
Jacob
ways,
Downey's
but
in the chat.
Yeah, but Christopher McCandless is a bad example though, because he was
well,
a.
what other examples are there of people that aren't taking a handout or aren't taking a job? Like, what are they doing?
Okay,
How are
well,
they getting money? How are they getting food?
Dude,
Are they like?
people work and buy groceries. That's just
but
a part of life.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
but
that was yeah. Well,
but people
that was one of my things that you listed. It was people that either ask for a handout or have money and are able to buy this stuff.
no. That's not what I said. I said the what you were presenting was that people were either well off, and
What do you mean by
I don't
well
know.
off?
I mean well off by having a lot of money.
No, I
Eh,
never said that.
that's what you were presenting.
No, that's not what I was presenting. I was presenting that poor is where you okay, let me define things. Poor. I'm going to say
I was
poor
thinking
as
Larry.
okay, we'll call it poverty. There are people that live in poverty that don't have a job, that don't have health care, that have nothing. They have to beg or they have to get a handout. That's
No, but
one way.
that's not what poverty is.
What is
Poverty is making below a certain amount of money.
I mean, yeah, but okay. Yeah, if you want to call it, yeah, sure. Okay.
No,
Yes.
that's not what I call it. That's the definition.
Yeah, I know,
And I
but it's
think
I
it's
know I'm not trying to sound like a leftist, but like that's not a living wage.
yeah, but
That's not enough to buy
I'm telling you,
healthcare.
people live on it. No, people live without health care.
Yeah, I know.
You
And
don't
guess
need
who has
health
to
care
pay
to
for those
live.
people?
You
Me.
need you need you need food and you need water and you need shelter and that's it. You don't need freaking health care.
Yeah, you do.
People
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't. Dude,
If not, you're on
poor
Medicaid.
people don't have the luxury to go to the doctor.
I,
And we
well, yeah,
don't.
and then they get terrible diseases, and then they're suffering or they die.
No, people
Like,
I don't know. I don't
that doesn't make any sense to me because like
well it
if
wouldn't.
I were to get into a car crash and I didn't have health care, I'd be in debt. I wouldn't be able to pay those bills unless I went on some government handout for that. Like I don't get that makes no sense to me. It's like, yeah, you don't technically you don't
I know
need
it
it,
doesn't
but
make
like
sense to you.
you're gonna be a burden to society or you're gonna be in debt or you're gonna not even get treatment maybe. I mean you do when you get into emergency room, like they have to take care of you, but you get my point.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you're not going to understand that because you don't, that's what I've been trying to tell you this whole night. You don't know, you haven't lived it. Most people don't go to, most people don't go to the doctor. I mean, where I live, in my socioeconomic level, people don't
Yeah.
go to the doctor. People don't go to the emergency room. People just, I mean, it's not, do you have health care?
Yeah, I'm lucky to.
So you like make regular doctor visits and get checks up and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm lucky to.
Yeah,
I know people that don't.
most people don't do that.
Most people
I don't,
don't.
I don't.
I don't know if I'd say most people don't.
I mean, a lot of people don't. Even who have health insurance, Sean, a lot of people don't visit the doctors.
Well, what was it? Most people don't have health care. Most people don't do regular visits.
Yeah,
I
well,
thought you were
no.
saying most people don't have
I'm not
healthcare.
gonna go. I'm not. No. I'm not gonna make a claim like that. I most people that live, and I mean, I just assume that my existence is a normal existence, and it's probably not.
Well, why are you assuming that? That doesn't make sense.
Because I assume that most of America is. I mean, that's all.
Well, see,
that I've ever
this is the
known.
problem with your view, is that you're assuming everybody's like you. I'm not. I'm not assuming everybody's like me or you. I'm assuming most people are above the poverty level.
I don't think
most people are doing pretty good here.
I don't think Scorpio is assuming that everyone's like him, but I get what he's saying.
We just said that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he literally just
think
said
my I did say that, and I think that
Yeah.
my American experience is very typical of the common American experience.
Depends on where you're at, and it depends.
Yeah, it does. And in where I'm at, that's not even. I mean, people don't go to the doctor. I mean, it's not a thing. You're kind of considered weird if you go to the doctor, if you go any kind of healthcare. It's not. That's not really a thing here.
And see,
yes, that's very abnormal.
And see where I'm at, I'm kind of considered an odd case because I don't go. I shouldn't say I don't ever go to the doctor, but I don't go as much as people think I should.
Do you do a yearly physical?
Yeah, but well, every other year. Mostly they just want to put me on drugs, which I'm not for. So
Well, I know why you avoid it. I don't blame
yeah,
you.
and that's my view on the American medical system is. Well, that's a whole nother topic for another.
another blood sports.
I'm not even.
Well, let me just ask this.
I'm not even sure it would be blood sports. I think most people here would actually agree with me on.
That's ass and it sucks.
On the American, I mean, not to sound like Vox Day here, Scorpio, but I do like Chinese medicine. I think that is the one thing that I think Vox and I may agree on is Eastern medicine. But I don't know if he's still grifting on that or not. So.
Well, let me ask this before we close. What are the different ways of living America? Because we're trying to pin that down. That it's not just, oh, you're getting handouts or you're working. Because those are the, like, I think if we can agree, those are the two things we're trying to find. Is like you can either not work or you work. What is like the other option? What is the other way of life?
No, I don't think that those are the only two options. I think there's only. I think there's only
other
one.
options. That's what I'm trying to get to.
I think there's only one. Honestly, it comes back to what I said earlier about Americans being very fortunate. Is that there's only one way to live in America that is in comfort. I think that from the poorest to the richest, and obviously we're going to be leaving out the homeless because that, I mean, obviously that's not going to be comfortable, and that's going to be a very small, that's even a small minority of those under the poverty line. But I think
it's 10% significant.
No. Below the poverty line includes. Let's clear this up so we know what we're talking about.
Oh yes,
like because I think people, but yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's where you're failing. Okay, let's talk about Vox Day. That's where you're failing to understand. Below the poverty line does not mean living on the streets. There is a figure, and I believe it is. Let me look it up, but I believe it's below 10,000 a year. Let me just be double.
But we do have major homeless problems in our major cities. Like it's obviously not majority.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not. Let me see the poverty threshold.
Oh, titty salad is finally in.
Oh, there's. She's gonna. Where the hell have you been? 15K. She would know.
Isn't poverty though like you don't have enough money to provide for like necessities?
No, it's a figure.
That
It's a
And if it's
figure.
15K, yeah,
Sh-
it's a
The
figure.
definition of
Sean
poverty is a figure.
Sean
I'm
is
confused.
Sean is getting. I understand where Sean is getting that line of thinking though, because
Well,
because
because he doesn't
Well, what is
he
the definition
doesn't
of poverty?
well, and because we were basically all told in school, at least I was, and again, I came from like an upper. I thought that living in poverty was living on the streets, literally.
No, that's not what
Well,
it is. The poverty
what
is an annual
definition? Pull up
income.
the
The
I
poverty is
definition.
what.
I don't
Pull up a
think
definition.
I don't think that I don't think that anymore.
No,
But
no, we're not talking about a different dictionary definition.
Well, what is the definition? Where's
We're
the
talking
official
about
definition of poverty?
no, we're not talking. We're talking about the poverty level, the poverty
Yeah, but
line.
we obviously disagree on what it means, and so I'm trying to objectify it.
No, there's only one meaning of the
Well,
poverty
what
level.
is the meaning?
Okay, hang on. Number of persons.
It's not a number, it's a
Okay.
definition.
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
What? Because you just told me poverty is not like being homeless. I'm like, yeah, so
it's not. It's
so
not.
what is it? What is the definition of poverty?
It is an annual income. Okay, if you fall below, and of course, hang on, of course it's gonna be hard to find any type of.
I
Let me
don't
see.
think you understand what I'm asking.
no,
I know what you're asking. You don't understand reality, my friend.
No, I'm just
See-
asking what the definition of poverty is.
see, Sean, I
You
think
can look up the definition of poverty if you want to, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the poverty line.
Sean, I think you're conflating poverty with being homeless, right?
Yeah,
No.
that's what he's been doing all night.
No.
That's what I told him earlier. He thinks that you either have money or you're begging for handouts. And that's not the way life works.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, here we got, this is from thebalance.com, Federal Poverty Level Definitions Guidelines Chart. 2021. Number of persons living in the household. If it's one person, to be considered below the poverty line, you must make less than $12,880 a year. If you have two people living in your household, you must be making less than $17,420 a year. Okay, does that clear things up for you?
So you're saying poverty is when you make below those certain amounts, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what.
Now, where are you getting this from?
Hang on, I'll put it in Discord if you want. Hang on. I'm gonna put it in the show preps link channel right there. Yeah, that's what I've been going off of all night. That is what I guess you would call it the legal definition of poverty.
Yes, that's what I've been looking for.
Not the dictionary definition.
And does it have the percentage of people that are in?
I don't know if it has percentages. I pulled that off of something else. It might be on there, but no, I told you earlier. Well, what I saw in Google earlier was 10.5%. That might not even be correct.
See,
Where's that?
I'm shaky on this because it says the poverty guidelines only measure income. Other poverty indicators measure total wealth, annual consumption, or subjective assessments of well-being. So if this is the government one, I would go by it, but I'm trying to dive more into it. And there's also the cost of living to consider too. So
Well, yeah, but people find a way to live. It's not.
No, I know they do, but what I'm saying is like, what types of groups of people are we class? Because I know and I've said it, like I know there's different levels of working and making money. There's some people that work and make very little money. There's some people that work and make money. Like, yeah, no shit. But There are people that don't work. And you're saying there's another way of living versus people that work and don't work. What is that other
Well,
way?
yes. I mean, that's just called life. There's not. I mean,
What?
I don't know what to attribute this
No, because you're
to.
saying there's another
It's
way to
misunderstanding.
live other than those ways. And I'm saying, well, what is it? Like, how are the
There's a
people
lot.
surviving those ways?
There's a lot of way. People have been surviving for thousands of years. You just do it. It's not. That's what I was telling you earlier. You're breaking down things down as either you make a lot of money or
No,
you're
see, I
you're
just
dirt
said that.
poor.
It's not if you make a lot. It's, are you working? Are you not? Do you have a job? Do you not? Are you getting handouts? Like,
Yeah,
how are you paying for food?
if you
Well, how
work,
are these people paying? How are these people getting food if they're not working or working? And they're in this third category.
well,
If they're not doing one of those things, how are they getting
what
food?
are we talking about? Can you understand? Okay, let's go back to the poverty level. If we have a household of two and that household is making $17,000 a year, do you think that they
Okay.
could live off of that?
I don't know. It depends on the state.
Or let me ask you this. Would you believe that they can live off of that?
I guess I don't know. I mean, is that after taxes?
It doesn't matter, my friend. When you're at $17,000, it doesn't matter. You're probably not even getting
You
taxed.
can get your bare necessities, but like but what I'm saying is it does depend to a degree because it costs of rent.
I'm telling you, you can live very well in America on $17,000 a year.
Oh no. You cannot live very well. You could live.
I mean,
to live. That's what I've been telling you. To live in America is to live very well. I don't know how you cannot understand that.
Well, compared to the rest of the world, yes.
Yes. I mean, what are we comparing it to?
That's Scorpio's entire point, though, Sean.
Yeah, I get that. But what I'm saying is, even when you're dirt poor, you're better off than the rest of the world, but it still sucks.
Well,
it's still not living.
No, but
well.
that's where you're not. That's where you're not.
See,
that's where it seems to me like that's where you're very close-minded. Is it doesn't. I mean, what are we gauging this on? It sucks compared to somebody who's making more than that. And it's yeah exactly. It's not well. I wouldn't even. You know what? I wouldn't even.
Let me put it this way:
I wouldn't even go as far as to say that
if they had nothing.
I wouldn't even go as far as to say that. I'm saying, what is there to gauge it on except the rest of the world? I mean, we're talking about a population.
There's your own.
You're talking about a population of 300. I wouldn't say that, my friend. We're talking about 350 million people in one country compared to 8 billion people in the rest of the world.
I know, but most people are very
that would be the thing to gauge it upon. Let's gauge it upon the much bigger number.
But most people don't do that. I'm trying to apply this how most people feel.
Of course they don't. Of course they don't, because they're small, they're closed-minded, and they're inexperienced.
Yeah, but my point is that's why most people wouldn't like being poor here. Is that even though it's better to be poor here than any other country, people still wouldn't like it for the most part.
See though, Sean, and here's my point, I think you're making what you're not factoring into is people can be happy being poor while still striving to be better and to be happy.
Yeah, I know, I said that. I'm just saying most people wouldn't like being poor.
I'm not saying they would, but I'm not saying they would, but I think there is a possibility to be happy whilst being poor and striving to better yourself. I think
I've said that. Yeah, I know.
I think that's what Scorpio is also saying.
No, what he's saying is there's this third way of living. And I'm trying to figure out what it is. And I still haven't gotten a straight answer. And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That is. I guess the third way would be the normal American experience is what I'm saying. I was saying the third way compared to what you were saying, which was you're either working or you're begging. I mean,
well, what else are you doing then? That's what I'm trying to get to. Is how?
That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to tell you. Is it's not that black and white. At least the way I was looking at it from your from what I assumed you were saying, which was I assumed you were saying either you're, and again, this is what we started arguing on, you're well off or you're begging.
No, like again, like
But
and
the
that's the
third,
problem.
I
is You're
get, like,
assuming things. You're not
and
listening
the
to what I'm
third, and the
saying.
third way, and that's what I was saying. The third way is people that live below the poverty line.
Okay. But would you agree that if you're in this country to survive and get the bare necessities of life, food, water, and shelter, you have to either work for it or you don't. And that usually comes under like begging, government assistance, or people being nice to like let you sleep somewhere or something, or they give you food. Would you agree to that? Because that was what I've been trying to say.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So what I'm saying is, if you are not working to make money to... Okay, let me start at the very beginning. So to live in this country and have the bare necessities, food, water, and shelter, you have to either work to make money to pay for those things, or you don't work and you get it through government assistance, free handouts, people giving you stuff, you're begging, or you find your way like into stuff. I mean, I don't know. You sleep next to like, I don't know, in a shed. I don't know. Would you agree those are the like ways you can live life here in America to meet the bare necessities?
Well, yeah, yes, that's just life. That's the way it's been since the beginning of time, since the beginning of human history.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I've been saying.